Rated is strictly prohibited.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saratoga as we start week number 4 here at the spa. And it's a beautiful day. Sunny skies. The temperature will be in the mid-80s. The main track fast. The turf courses are firm. And the portable rails are up at 18 feet on both the melon and inner turf. No carryover in the pick 6. And right now we'll take a look at today's changes. The first race is the Jonathan Kaiser Novice Stakes. It's a steeplechase race. And scratch number 2, Theocrat. Scratch number 2, Theocrat. Note that number 1, Perfect Tapatino, will wear a mask. And numbers 6 and 7 will both wear a cheek piece again. That's for numbers 6 and 7. They are both wearing a cheek piece again. Second race, there are no changes. It starts the pick 5. Third race begins the early pick 4. Scratch number 7, Achilles Heel. Scratch number 7, Achilles Heel. In the fourth, scratch 8, Chase and Bryn, and 9, Invaluable. Scratch numbers 8 and 9 out of the fourth. Race 5 will begin the pick 6 and scratch the 1A, Stealth 34. Scratch 1A out of race 5. Sixth race today, scratch number 8, Lady Quinn. Scratch the 8, Lady Quinn from race 6. There are no changes in the 7th. And there are no changes in the 8th. In the 9th race, scratch 2B, Millefeuille, and scratch 8 through 12, the also eligibles. 8 played hard through the 12, Flash and Dynamite. So in total, in the 9th race, scratch 2B, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And in today's 10th race, scratch 1A, Centavo, 2, Heads or Tails, 3, Bezos, and 6, Regality. Scratch 1A, 2, 3, and 6 from race 10. The main track fast, turf courses are firm. We'll be back at 12:30 to reprise the changes. First race post time today is at 1:05. Up next, the Wednesday edition of Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Greg Wolf.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses as we kick off week number 4, day 15 here at Saratoga. Greg Wolf is joining me. Anthony Spiel will be back tomorrow. Welcome. Is this your first Saratoga Talking Horses? Or did you do one last year?
I think I did one last
I
year.
think you did do one last year. I felt like I remember.
But I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you.
Thank you.
Well, you and I work together all the time in New York, and I think this is like the second time we've been on the decks together. Maybe, is this the first time we've been on the desk together?
I think that might be the first time. Yeah, we come here and I never see you. It's like
It's bizarre.
worlds apart. But it's like that with all the people.
Yeah.
I don't see Acacia. I don't see Maggie.
I've barely seen either one of them. I know. It's a little strange.
And this might be the most beautiful day we've had since we've been here.
It is absolutely gorgeous and starting out a nice week. The Whitney was drawn this morning. I didn't see the draw, but I think there's 6.
Life is good. Outside post.
He got the outside post?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're happy with it. Does it matter? He's going to be in front, so
Yeah.
so I don't. What about Olympiad?
I believe post 4.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
And it's 6,
What do you-
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hot Rod Charlie?
I think post 2.
Okay. Any early thoughts on this?
I think I like Life is Good or Olympiad.
You know, I think they look like the two. Well, you know, I love Hot Rod Charlie.
I like Life is Good.
Yeah. I'm really interested in it because I think this is going to be a real battle for Life is Good. I'm not, and I love Life.
I
is
agree
Good,
with you.
But I think Olympiad is absolutely terrific. This is a really good matchup. This one, somebody was it Jonathan? I think was comparing it to Blame and Quality Road, where you've got the speed of Life is Good, and Blame was a closer. And the thing is, Olympiad's not really a closer. He can be close to the pace.
Yeah, he's tactical. He'll be forward, but Life is Good is going to be.
He's fast.
Well, we'll see. Is Hot Rod Charlie going to put pressure on him early? Can he?
It's just not riding him.
That could be
way
the key to the
anymore. Does he
race.
have that speed anymore that he used to have? I don't know.
Yeah.
But looking forward to that. 3 grade 1 Saturday, actually, the test. Saratoga Derby, all that will be drawn later today. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, we would like you to be a member of Naira Bets. Use the promo code TOGA200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have something, a $20 Saratoga bonus. Bet $200 on Saratoga, get 20. Oh, Wednesdays at Saratoga. I'm opting in for that. So I definitely, I've lost
It helps.
$20 less today for sure. What else do we have? I'm definitely opting into that thing immediately before I forget. We got a Saratoga contest, the Saturday contest, $300 buy-in, cash and seat prizes. Go to naira.com/contest. You have till 5 o'clock on Friday. And finally, 4-Star Dave Challenge, $3,000 buy-in. That's next week. And I'm guessing you probably have till late in the week next week, but go to naira.com/contest before. And what else do we have?
Our show.
Show. 1 to 6:30 on FS2. We will be on from 1 to 4 here, you and Richie and I believe, and Acacia and Maggie sharing, mostly Acacia, right? She's coming on later, I believe.
Jump race to begin the card.
Correct. And Joe Clancy not here, unfortunately, but he gave me some info. If you're interested in who Joe likes in here, Joe liked 364. If you're interested in Joe's picks. If you're interested in our picks for race number 2, here they come. I have a question about race number 2. I was thinking about that horse for Bond that won, switching to Luis Saez last week, that went off at 2-1, took all the money and got the money done. I was looking at Glittering Sky, who goes from Heman Harkey to Luis Saez, and we're going to have a similar situation. We look at Glittering Prize's last race, where he finished second to Doc Rock. Is going to be another one where they're coming for him hard. Any thoughts?
So I have Glittering Prize third in here.
Me too.
Tough gauge for me because these were 2 off tracks. I don't think anyone really stood out in this spot. I thought Frosty Invasion was the one to beat. For me, look, it's Saez. Horse showed ability to be forward, 2 starts back. But I thought in this race, choose a new face in a horse who
Frosty
at least.
Invasion?
No, I went to Laughter in here, trying the dirt for the first time.
You and everybody. Everyone I know likes this horse.
Showed speed in that drill. The second dam actually won the debut on dirt sprinting with a 75 buyer. I thought it was the kind of race where maybe take a new face and a horse that at least has pedigree-wise some ability to handle the dirt.
And I think a lot of people were impressed by the workout, the 47 breezing workout. I think it was the best of 46 or 47 or 24 horses, but it was a very strong work. And I think a lot better than anything shown. I don't disagree. I think Laughter's very usable here. I'm interested in Ace Upper Sleeve. This is kind of my kind of horse. Probably be a decent enough price in here for Steve Placeres. Showed a little speed first time out from an outside post, a wide trip. It was a fair track that day. But say Sue Ellen Michigan, who at the time looked like she would be pretty good. Obviously, it didn't play out. But ran against Maiden Specials, comes back. I kind of went to this one as my new face because, like you, I want somebody who's unexposed.
Yeah. Fourth place finisher out of that same race came back and won the next two, actually, including a stake on synthetic. Was second in another stake on synthetic.
Who was the horse?
That was Have You Made Your Money?
Oh,
Or
okay.
How Do You Make Your Money, excuse me.
Okay. I think the 6 is interesting here. What do you think?
I thought the
about
6
it?
was
You got
a
him
horse to
second.
beat.
Really?
I did.
Cutting back a little bit?
Cuts back in distance, but more so for me, the drop down from State Bred Maiden Special. I thought this was, I initially looked at this race and I was going to single this horse and pick 5s.
Really?
But then I decided that was a foolish move.
Yeah, I didn't use him, and I can see him winning. I had bet him in the maiden 40. He ran it already, and he ran okay, but that was a bit of a hungry bunch. I'm just going to stick to the new shooters, basically the 2 and 4, and I took Ace Upper Sleeve on top. Anybody else we're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at Darn That Song in that last race. Man, that was a slow race. And the horse, I liked the way that she finished. She was 4 wide in there. Horse who was second in there is 0 for 33. That field is tough to take anybody out of
are
it.
a little ugly, too, the winner of that race.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I looked at that as well. Now, Gary Siaka actually has decent numbers off the claim. With maiden claimers off the claim in the dirt, he's 2 for 6, for what it's worth. And he's actually got okay numbers off the claim. Not spectacular, but decent enough numbers that if you look at that claim. And the other thing is it's IRAD. And IRAD is just going to continue to take too much money. And it's, IRAD's stats, I think his ROI is $1.46. David Argona put up the ROIs. Javier has far and away the best ROI. It's very early in the meet, and a big price going to skew it. But IRAD's ROI is low. But part of the problem for IRAD is they're so dramatically overbetting his horses that he has no chance to even meet less the takeout, even if he's riding really well. So
No, totally agree. And we saw that. I think the height of that was what? Aqueduct winner, when his horses were getting bet off the screen.
IRAD
To a
wasn't riding
ridiculous
here. I
amount.
mean, that was when Jose was riding, you're thinking.
No, IRAD's horses were getting bet off the screen.
But he wasn't here in the winter.
Oh, so it was definitely at Aqueduct.
Oh, that's very possible, but not in the winter. Now you've got me confused.
So fall, Aqueduct.
Fall. We're going back to Aqueduct in September. That makes your commute better. Are you excited about that? You're not unhappy about the commute. You like Belmont.
I'm going to miss Belmont.
I know, but
Last thing I'll say about this race.
Yeah.
Did the 5, just because a couple of horses came out of that race to win, it was a drop down in Class 2 now, intrigue you at all or no?
No, but I don't disagree. The horse does come out of a much
Okay.
better race than this. The horses did absolutely no running whatsoever. That was my problem. Race number 3. Race number 3 is one of the only races I was really upset about the scratches because I like the 7 a lot, who scratched in here, and I scratched into a horse that doesn't do a lot for me. You're trying to get a little clever. I thought Print Rack was probably the horse to beat, but the thing about Print Rack, we'll take a look at his race at Finger Lakes 2 back when he won. Isn't he going to have to deal with speed from your horse?
Here's, for me with Print Rack, I don't think this horse runs well with pressure outside of him. In this race, he got the lead pretty much the entire way and was just comfortable. And this race is an outlier to me. He's never run this number prior. I mean, I guess you could say he was inching toward it. I don't know if I believe this race.
Oh, I don't buy the 80. I'm saying that I'm not saying the 80 buyer's wrong. I would never bet this horse hoping he runs an 80 buyer in here. But does he need to?
I think there's ready to march outside of him, which I think is a big, to me, and maybe I'm wrong, he's going to get pressure. And I think if there's pressure to his outside, he does not run as well.
I'm not sure Ready to March is not faster. And the way Javier's been riding extremely well, he is not going to let Print Rack dictate this race. There's no chance he is with the confidence he's riding.
Yeah, I'm with.
Unless he gets left, but you can't.
Ready to March, to me, this was a tough race. So I went against a little bit. You have to. It shows you what decisions you have to make in here because there's other speed in the race. So logically, you should say I'm going to take a horse who's going to come from off the pace. But to me, this is a horse that just matched his top 2-year-old figure. He's rounding into really good form. I think he's an improving horse. And as you said, he is quick out of the gate. And I at least like the fact that in his debut, I know he was quick and eventually made the lead, but right off the bat, he wasn't the horse in front. And then he eventually took the lead. But if he is going to be effective in here, he's going to be right there at the
He's
top.
got to be forward.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that Letty, who I scratched into on top, we'll take a look at Letty's race, I think 2 back at Churchill Downs back in November. Letty's going to be close as well. Listen, I do not have a lot of conviction. I really wanted to bet Achilles heel today. I kind of preferred Letty to Print Rack because I don't trust Print Rack the same way you do. I'm not a big fan of your horse, but I'm not going to knock anybody in here because I'm not thrilled. Letty has a little bit of a look like that Asmussen horse that won here the other day. I think was coming off a bit of a layoff and ended up paying a big price for now. The 8 horse on Sunday, maybe. I think it was like 8-3-1 was the finish. I just thought this horse ran a 68 Buyers, a 2-year-old routine improvement, puts him there. I don't love him, but I scratched into him, and I prefer him to Print Rack.
Would you say the best closers, the ability to win in here? Your horse is out, but now it becomes never early, the 5.
I know. I don't like never early.
Okay.
I do not like this horse. You look at the last race. 1 to
Picked
9
up
shot
pieces,
ran last.
right?
Yeah, I don't think he's really done that much running in his races. He does have some good back figs, to be fair, but he has those back figs when Jeffrey Engelshart's horses were running lights out. And the truth is, he has 1 win at the meet. That win was an off-the-turf race with Al's Prince, and his horses have not been running extremely well, especially at least in New York, or I should say at NYRA, since Aqueduct. And at Aqueduct, he was on fire. I mean, he had this credible run with claims, so I want to see it again. We'll see. Race number 4. I think race number 4 is another one of those, who do you trust in this race? Because I've put the drop downs 1, 2. You do have one of them with me. I'm just hoping that Adelaide Miss can wire the field, and I have a trainer stat for Brittany Russell, and the majority of these are on the dirt for what it's worth. But while they're short prices, when she has had significant drop downs like Adelaide Miss or drop downs in general, they have been very, very effective. And her best success at NYRA has been on the turf. I'm just hoping this horse can wire the field, but I don't have a lot of confidence in this horse.
World tougher race she's coming out of, too, where she was trying to set the pace in that one. She's going to be in front. You have Luis Saez, who knows he's going to be aggressive in here and can take advantage on the inner. I thought there was a lot to like with this horse. War Canoe's been one of my favorite horses. It pains me that I didn't include War Canoe in my top 4, but I did not like that race last time.
I agree, and we'll show the race last time out at 3 Ace, and I think if you want somebody out of that race, you probably want Charge Account more, because at least Charge Account made this big run towards it, while War Canoe was just trying to suck up.
And had a great trip on the rail for most of it.
I thought Kendrick gave her a terrific ride. You want to say, was it possible she had a little traffic in the late stages? Maybe, but I don't know. It just felt like she never quickened enough to get to the spot. Like, look at her in blue down there. And at least Charge Account made a run to try to win the race.
Yeah, and I like this race from Charge Account. I definitely ran the better race of the 2. That 2 just showing no punch in the lane. There's time here to put in some run.
She's running when the race is over. Right in here, she starts to run a little bit. So what? Yeah. You know what I mean? I agree. Workano has had such a tremendous career. She's 9 years old now. She just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct anymore.
I just threw in, at 4th, a horse trying the turf for the first time, Carry On.
Actually, his pedigree.
Yeah, graded 6th place on the turf, was a 3-time winner on the grass. We'll see, trying it for the first time.
Why would you run? Belterra has a turf course. Indiana has a turf course. Why would you run this horse at tracks with turf courses in $4,000 and $5,000 claiming races without just throwing it on the turf? How do you not realize that this horse's pedigree? Listen, Congrats is not great as a sire for turf, but there's so much on the dam side. You're running in $4,000 claimers. What do you care the sire's Congrats? Yeah. Run the horse to the turf, find out the horse can't run before you just give away.
They tried once, right, and it got washed off. But, yeah, why would you not? I don't understand.
And I think Golden Voice is dangerous in here. If you're going to talk about Adelaide Miss, you got to talk about Golden Voice, and we'll look at Golden Voice. This is 2 back at Pimlico. Golden Voice is quite a world traveler, huh? Turfway, Keeneland, Pimlico, Indiana. The last race was not good, but the way Mike Maker's horses are running, I decided to go with the drop downs in here over the horse with recency, Charge Account. I would use 4, 5, 6, but I'm going to lean in the ones with their dropping down.
I look at Thorograph numbers.
Right.
This number, another one sort of like we were talking about with Print Rack, this was an outlier. This was a huge figure that if she can run back to this, dominates this field on Thorograph.
The way Maker's horses are running, I almost feel like it's reasonable to expect them to run back to their better numbers. It's the same thing with him this year as last year, when he was like a house on fire. And it just seems like his horses are really, really running well again. Repeatedly.
He brought, I talked about it earlier in the program, he brought more ammunition this year than he ever has. He brought, I want to say, 63 horses at Saratoga. He's got another 50 at Belmont. And, as we said, he started on fire. It was unbelievable what he did that first half. But he has the horses now to contend through an entire meet with Chad Brown, with Todd Pletcher.
Interesting. I wish him the best of luck against Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher. You need it. And Mike knows he does, considering the numbers you just gave. Race number 5, I thought was kind of an interesting race on this card. And you and I are going to both take the same goofy horse that we'll get to. You know, who the horse to beat in here, I think, is a little bit of an interesting discussion between the 1 and the 5. I bet Java Buzz last time. We'll show the race. We'll show the start of the race. The horse kind of blew the break. I believe that this horse had legitimate traffic trouble in the stretch and never could get that clean path until it was too late and trying to fight between horses. The problem for me is I bet her last time, or him last time, at 6-1, and now he's going to be 2-1 in here. I don't need it. And we'll get to the stretch.
Yeah, you're going to take the start alone, I'm going to like this horse off that performance, right?
Well, I thought that Flavien gave him a terrific ride after that. He just gets a little unlucky, and that's the gray horse on the outside is the George Weaver hot first-time star that gets up to win. He is really keeping him in. There is a moment when he gets that seam, but they're not cars. You don't hit the gas pedal the second the seam opens. They've got to get their momentum, and he was definitely discouraged between horses. I think with an outside clean trip, he wins this race. Now, I know the Weaver horse did not come back and run well, but he's a second-time star that ran well first time. I'm just not going to take him in here. And Sousa Summer, it's interesting. The best race this horse ever ran might have been his sprint race. I mean, not only lose to Big Invasion, but the second horse came back and improved its figure 5 points next time out. But I found a stat for Bill Mott for what it's worth, which is a big negative. But considering the race this horse ran as a sprint, do you really want to dismiss him in here? It's a terrible stat, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is not good. Yeah, real quick, you mentioned Big Invasion, who he distant third to, but Big Invasion won the first 5 of his career, including the quick call.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a legit. I mean, I have to think that Big Invasion, I understand Golden Pal's running here Friday. Big Invasion has to be considered a legitimate threat towards the Breeders' Cup turf sprint. I mean, he's that kind of good. He's just destroying fields out there. So I'm not going to be surprised if he wins, but we both landed on a new face. I'll let you talk about Triumphant Road.
Okay. Triumphant Road. He only has that one start. It was on dirt last summer here. Mike Prankster was in that race, who went on to win the Grade 3 Swale, was second in the Maxfield. Seal Beach, who was 10 lengths behind him, was actually second. He faced some really tough maiden fields. He was second to Epicenter as a maiden.
He was second to every single good horse in his career, and he won. He's the horse that won that maiden race the second to last day at Churchill. When you said he couldn't lose, he'd run a huge figure, and he won. When you and I left and we didn't get the photo for second, and I won the photo for second. We were waiting for the elevator to get out. And he's here, Seal Beach. He's not sure if he's going to run dirt or turf, I think.
Yeah. So, look, that was last summer. I think this horse belongs on grass. So, the Dam was a multiple graded stakes winner on the turf. Grade 1 placed. Won $585,000. Produced a multiple stakes winner on turf, who actually won the debut going down the hill on the turf at Santa Anita with an 81 buyer. That was Curlin's Fox.
Is that the horse? Yeah.
Well done. And then produced another multiple winner on the turf, Sprinting, who produced a couple of buyers in the mid-'80s.
This horse has 3 horses that won on the turf. It's all turf. You know, it's funny. Eddie Barker had told me about this horse last year. He gave me a lift. He was very kindly gave me a lift to the subway one day after Belmont. And he was talking about this horse. And I saw him the other day, and I said, oh, I see your big horse is back in. So I agree. I have to take this horse. I have to lose this horse. Let me ask you another horse in here. What about Upper Level, the 2? And we have the same picks in this race. I mean, this horse is kind of turf meant. And, you know, the Dam was good in the turf. She won 2 races, you know, and almost $200,000, 102 buyer. And even though she's only produced 1 out of 3 to win the turf, and they were kind of okay.
Yeah, 2 for 16 combined,
I know Midnight Storm is 7% in the turf, but it's a very, very small sample for a horse that was a very good turf horse. So I'm not convinced that he couldn't prove to be a decent turf sire.
We both have the horse in there 4th. Wouldn't surprise me at all. The only thing that scares me is you see that speed on the dirt. You know how I feel.
Right.
And it's true. I mean, dirt speed doesn't always translate to turf speed. The other way around, it does. But we'll see if the horse is as quick on turf as he was on dirt.
Well, let me say something. If we're right about the 4, don't you think he's going to be forward? If we're right that he's a turf horse, it's not like he was that slow as a 2-year-old. It feels like he's the horse that could be. But if the 2 is a turf horse, he has the pedigree for it. So it's an interesting race. I think a lot of people will sort of default to the 1 and 5.
I thought the 1 was the horse to beat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with you. But I just think that the 4, I think both the 4 and the 2 are reasonable alternatives to use in some respect. That's the first 5. Greg and I will be back after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf and Andy Serling. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, will be back here tomorrow. We're at a mile 16th on the turf, and in the sixth race, I have to bet the 4 here, Dream on Cara. I know that she comes out of an extremely slow race, but the pedigree on the dam side is good for turf, and it's really turf routes. So I have to give this horse one more chance. I like this pedigree. I like this family. So I'm going to give this horse one more chance on the turf going long. But I think that you have to consider first-time stars very dangerous, or first-time turfers here, because there's plenty of pedigree in this race.
I really wanted to go with Dream on Cara. I did. Smoky Eyes to me looks so dangerous in this spot. It's Clement. You get the world-class rider, Flavia Pratt. The dam was a 3-time winner. She was sprinting on turf, but great at stakes place. But the second dam actually was a multiple stakes winner routing on the grass. So there's some pedigree there, and actually won the turf debut in a route. It was her second start overall, but on the grass routing, that was her turf debut.
Yeah, the Phantom Smoke is the half of this horse. But, yeah, I don't disagree. It was interesting that Pratt was riding this race. I don't make a lot of jockeys. It just seemed a little odd with Joelle not riding in this race that Pratt was riding. Now, I wonder, is it possible that Joelle was committed to a horse and ended up not going in here? And by the time he wasn't going, they already given the mount to Pratt. I was just sort of wondering, maybe Clement's trying to give more business to Pratt, but he uses Joelle so much in his livest horses. I don't want to make too much because I have no idea what the story is. Doesn't it seem a little odd that he's not riding here and he's not on that horse?
Yeah, we should find out that story. I mean, I guess as a trainer, too, you're going to have times where you're not going to have him available. You want to have a nice backup plan, so maybe ease him into the mix.
Well, now that I'm finding out that Christophe Clement is using my name to try to get tables in restaurants. Listen, I'm somebody, he's nobody. I get it.
Where was this?
I think, I'm not going to say, but
okay.
Christophe, you're going to have to come clean on this. I have my ways. I think he should have to give us the honest story here, though I don't know if I trust him, after a sneaky move like that. It's a sneaky move.
I would ask you first before I ever did. You know that, right?
Yes. You're not like Christophe, apparently. You're like a real friend. I mean, and
but you guys are that close that he kind of.
I don't know. I haven't gotten an invitation to the house this year, so I don't know. What about the one Amanda's Folly? I know Rudy's Barn is really dead. There's a lot of turf pedigree in here. I mean, this was a Roy Lehrman horse, won on the turf, but she's produced 3 turf winners. Don't you feel like that's a dangerous horse here?
Including a Lake George winner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to go here, but I think until Rudy wins, you got to try and beat him, right?
Right, I agree. But this horse will be a price. And this is kind of an odd horse. I mean, the thing is, I agree with you, but I'm going to let him beat me a shorter price.
Also the dam produced a first-out winner on the grass who was great at stakes place. And then separately, Lake George winner, Ancient Secret, who... Was that Chad Brown? Yes.
Ancient Secret was 100% Chad Brown. She won the Lake George? Right, yeah. Wasn't she, undefeated to start her career? I feel like the Chad started her out sprinting. And she stretched out and won it a mile for the first time in the Lake George.
Okay.
I'm not. Lady Yasmin was entered on at a mile, at 5.5 furlongs of the turf, and now goes long. She's got some pedigree as well. I thought she was interesting. This is an interesting race. I may have taken a horse that I have to take that might have to be a lot better than she is, because it feels like somebody's going to be a runner in this race. We'll see. Race number 7. I hate to chalk out as you did in this race as well. But I am not betting against Tiergan in here. We'll look at the last race. I know he's disappointed at some shortish prices lately.
This was not his fault.
He got wired by a horse that ran a huge race.
And he didn't get out of the gate well. He broke legitimately a step slow, and at least he fights and makes it interesting late. I like that.
I like him a lot here. I know he's going to be a short price in here, but I'm not trying
this
to
horse, by the way, who he's unable to run down, and he was compromised at the beginning, Tiergan. This horse ran a 91 Beyer, 18 points better than he ever has in his life here.
Well, Prince of Wales had an edge in there. He was Andy off. I had lost money on him in like 4 straight races, and I think I was out. and didn't bet him that day. So he had a big advantage, a little weight off that day. Now, you have Blewett second. And I think in honor of Blewett, I don't want to get in his way because I pick against him every time, and he continues to win. He obviously had no real chance last time. Let me ask you a question. We look at his race 2 back. 2 things. A, do we think he's better when he has more distance?
Absolutely.
Because he can control in those
Absolutely.
races, and I don't really know that that's something that can necessarily happen in this race. And he's not going to happen with Daddy Knows in this race. Do you wonder where he's been? It's like he caught that magic this winter, and he really got good. But how confident are you when these horses come back after the layoffs that they still have the magic? And it has been 3 months.
I may be completely wrong about this, but these big figures I see at Aqueduct, I tend to downgrade a little bit when we get here.
Okay.
And maybe that's right or wrong. I don't know. I'm not seeing them come back and run those, at least for me.
Well, are they horses that are running well at that time of the year that just aren't running as well in the
Possibly,
summer?
yeah.
You know, they need some time off.
But yeah, more to your point, 100%, this horse is better going a little bit longer. And to me, he's been, I know he went from off the pace for 32. That was at 1 1/8. He's been more effective in his career when he gets the lead. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
But he was in, I mean, to be fair, absolutely terrific form here this winter. You've got Bar 14 third. You know, Nick Tamero was talking about it. He said, I worry a little bit that Bar 14 could wire the field. Is he really supposed to get the lead from Daddy Knows that easily? I mean, the pace projector has him getting it, so I guess his recent form is faster, right?
Well, you got sprint speed with Daddy Knows. I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
But I mean, that race, Quick Flash actually came back and ran very good here
He did. He ran
in a
huge
race
run
last
second.
week. I actually liked him that day a little bit. He was never going to get to the winner, but beat the rest of that field. Bar 48, I just like the fact he's going from turf back to dirt, and he showed some ability on the dirt. So horse who cost me a lot of money in a huge pick 5 where I singled him and he ran second on the grass.
I'm sorry. Does he know?
But Tiergan, to me, you said you felt bad because you chalked out. I don't feel bad. I think this horse is a complete standout here.
Yeah, I would lean extremely heavily on him in the pick 5. And if I was playing, just one ticket, I would single him. If I was playing multis, maybe I'd use a little vintage Hollywood because I just can't resist. I kind of like him,
Yeah.
and I'd have him for 10% of my money and some tiny backup. But I would lean extremely heavily, if not.
Especially when he's in at this level, he shows up.
It's good. And Michelle Giangulio, see if she can get a win off the claim as she did last year for. Can we say it? 10 Strike Racing. Race number 8. I thought race number 8 was a tough race, and I'm really curious. We'll get to. You don't have Swift Tap, 1, 2, 3, huh?
I did not like him today, but he scares me. I'll still tell you this. This is one of those races. There's always a race in the sequence when you don't have a good feel for a few horses. If I play pick 5s, I am throwing him in.
Swift Tap.
Yeah.
Okay. I say one thing. Rob Atras is not having. He had a huge run at Belmont. He's been very quiet. I don't feel like, though, first of all, he's run a third as many horses or less than Rudy has, and I don't feel like he's had a lot of super logical horses that have failed out there. But he has been a little bit quiet. I think this horse is logical in here. I've got him second, but I'm not in love with him. He's also 1 for 12 with 5 seconds and thirds, and he's been short prices in a lot of races.
This was a race to me. Look, it's 3-year-olds, second half of the year now. I think it was a bit of a puzzle, and anyone to me could kind of step up. I think that, to me, one of the most wide-open divisions there are where you don't know what's going to happen to 3-year-old fillies. But second half of the year with 3-year-olds, too, it's just who's going to improve and take that step. He's a horse, I think this is a race you want to be deep. I actually really, really liked Buckingham Prince in here. And then
We'll show his replay of his last race.
I read according to the workout reports, his last work was not good. So that scares me a little.
The one that says 1 minute and 3/5, which is interesting
Yeah.
because so many people look at times, and we believe the workout reports are far more important than times.
Certainly sent way too fast. Yeah, that's the thing. You can send him way too fast to go early, and then he was on the wrong lead late. I love this performance. Look, he battled Stellar Tap and dug in all the way to the finish in here. And Stellar Tap is a horse that, had some ability at one point. You just look at who he's been facing, though, too. Look, Surfer Dude. That's a horse who was third to Conager and Gunite, who's multiple stakes placed. We just saw him win a stake here. Conager, we think still.
Conager got a 95 buyer winning Colonial, but apparently they are planning on coming for the Jerkins.
They are, okay.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, his
Steve
2
Bix
sprints
already
before they
remarked.
stretched him out and he got beat looked like he could be potentially a threat to Jackie's Warrior. He's in a much better spot against this group in here, and I love what I saw in that Churchill race. The work does put me off him a little bit.
Yeah, I've got him in the mix, and I think he's very dangerous. We can blow off the next replay I sent in. Nobody used this horse, so we'll blow off that next replay I had if you guys don't mind. I struggle with this race. I looked at this race a lot. I think the 3 and 9 are very logical horses here. I think there's an interesting case to be made for Must Be Love for Gustavo Rodriguez, or it's a private purchase. Joel Rosario rides this horse. I like Salippo in here. I'm not hugely confident with Salippo, but he's going to be a square enough price. And he is a horse that's had his share of excuses. You know, he gets wired last time by my last mission. He's been on some speed tracks. He's had some trips. He's had some excuses. I'm going to hope the little bit of freshening is going to help him, Salippo. Also, he's going to get pace in here. I mean, how is there not pace in here in a race where Buckingham Prince can't get their lead? I mean, Free Square has speed. Dots Dollar has to go in this race. You got to think Hagler's going to go. Do we get on the bandwagon with Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler?
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe that the Sugar Ray Leonard Hagler fight was the night of a dead show at Brendan Byrne Arena.
Was it a tough choice
the
for
arena
you?
at
Which
the
one to go
Meadowlands.
to?
No, I saw them both because I went to the show, and they had a big screen at the Meadowlands, the racetrack, which is right across from the arena. And they were showing, I don't think it's probably not called Brendan Byrne anymore, but that was called back then. And so we stood in the parking lot in the rain and watched the fight, and I got sick and missed the dead show the next night. So I'm a little bitter still.
But you're a good sports fan.
Right. Luckily, the show was on the radio, so sick as I was, I listened to it on the radio. I don't really like Hagler at 7 furlongs, but he's got to be forward in here. I mean, this is a very tough race because there's so many unknowns.
Yeah,
You've got Sugar Ray Leonard second.
I do. I like him. Well, back to Hagler real quick. He's faced some tough horses,
Yes.
right? Electability, who was third in the Peter Pan. He's only beat a half length behind Golden Glider for second. Morello, Quilvase, they had hopes for this horse. So I don't know what I'm going to get from him. He might come back and be great. Sugar Ray Leonard, to me, was the horse that I think could sit and stalk and pick up, behind these speeds and maybe get it done at 7 furlongs. You see his win. He broke his maiden at 7/8. I didn't think the trouble was all that bad last start, but I put a line through that race with the sloppy racetrack. I think he could move forward. And I really like the Russell Brittany Barn. Excuse me,
Or
Brittany
Brittany
Russell.
Russell.
I'm losing my mind. And you get Saez on board. I think it'd be close enough and finish. But I really like the 3.
I am okay. I'm not going to be dismissive of anybody in this race. I think this is a very, very interesting race.
Well, we talked through this, and now that's the thing. You have your own things, and when you talk it out with someone, it seems like, all the races we've talked about, that's one where you want deep coverage. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to knock Tom's horse, Iron Lion and Zion, and you could say, hey, this horse is coming off a layoff and ran a 63 buyer in the second start and maybe improves to a 70. I had a little trouble making this horse. I think a case can be made for everybody in this race. I mean, I think a case can be made for Dots Dollar in this race. I prefer other horses, and I think he may be somewhat a pace victim, but he can win this race. No
one would surprise me there.
So it's interesting with race number 9 because I copped out in race number 9. You didn't. Most people I've talked to did not cop out. We can switch to race number 9 picks. Make my picks 1, 2, 4, 3, please. I only put the 1A third because you want to get those 4th picks in there for people who want them. Other people on the internet think that we want them because we've been known to brag when our fourth choice wins quite often that we pick the winner. I'll leave that to other people to do. As far as Rocky Sky, I'll show you the Hillsborough race, and I'm sorry to read the Bleecker Streets on the shelf. Yeah, that's such a shame. She ran second in here, but it wasn't a good second. She was sort of second by default. I actually liked her. I remember talking to Chad Brown. He said, I don't think he's going to beat Bleecker Street, but we both sort of expected her to run a little bit better, and she just kind of got second by default. I thought she actually, see, if it was just that race, I would have played against her. I thought Rocky Sky actually ran very well last time. She broke slow. She was 3 wide around the track the whole way. Vigilante's Way, who finished second, is a pretty good shug horse who was in a 3-way photo with a couple of Chad Browns on Haskell Day. Lamista won the race. I thought she was the best horse in here, but I'm also taking a horse as part of an entry that's going to be odds on, and I'm not sure that's a great move.
The rail, by the way, was way out that day. She was 3 wide most of it. but I just didn't like the fact that I thought Flippant kind of beat her to the spot in the stretch.
Okay.
And she got outrun. Now, Flippant's not a bad horse at all.
No.
I mean, Flippant would be a
Ran
contender.
3
in here.
buyer points better to win a stake at Indiana
Yeah.
the next start.
But both of these two did not stand out to me to make them even money in this spot. And even, American Bridge, I guess Chad Brown had said that was not the plan to go to the lead last time out. And
was
that's
afraid
why
she's
he
a runoff.
actually,
Yeah.
that's why he flipped riders here to try and make a bit of a switch.
But the problem with her is she hasn't done any significant running in her races. Now, in fairness, you could say, well, she ran off last time. Maybe she's a better horse than that. If they can get her to settle, we'll find out who she is. And she did run against Warlike Goddess in her first race in this country. But it's hard to have much confidence in these entries. Only one of them can win. And you end up paying a dear price for entries.
Yeah.
And I hate entries. I just didn't feel strongly enough to endorse others. You obviously have taken a shot against them.
So I originally liked Poca Muka in here, and I liked the move that again, this was a day that this allowance optional 62 race, same condition as today. The rail was way out that day. She was 3 wide. I'm talking about Poca Muka, who I picked second.
I thought she made kind of a crazy middle move.
Yeah, she did. She made a big move into the turn.
And Pratt's a tremendous rider. Probably not one of his best rides here.
You thought it was too early.
Yeah, I thought he
Yeah.
moved too wide and too soon.
Okay, I agree with you. So, yeah, if that can be better time, you get Rosario, you're going to get, look, they're both 2 of the best in the business. But, yeah, major player. In the end, I went to a mare coming out of the same race, Princess Fazia. I liked the look. She was inside. She did have to go wide, and then even wider around that turn.
Mm-hmm.
So, you like that angle and that swing out. But she went really wide, and she outfinished Poca Muka in the end, who, again, made that early move. It might be different today. I like both these two. I'm going to use both these two in a pick 5 today.
My problem with Princess Fazia here is when she was winning races, she was getting incredibly fortunate. She won like 3 races in about a 10-minute period, right? Linda ran her for $35,000. Nobody took her, and then she won like $150,000 in her next few races. I feel like Poca Muka's race 2 back is good enough to maybe have a shot here. I'm not sure about Princess Fazia. What about the 2 horse in this race, Angel Palm? I'm going to show her win 2 races back. And this is one where Manny was super aggressive in center. Now, one problem I have with this race, it rained right before this race. So even though the turf was listed as firm, it wasn't firm. And she was able to sort of control on the front end in an odd way. Baby Blythe was off a layoff. She came back to win a 2-horse race in her next start. Laid the groundwork to not get a great trip and a stake at Delaware. She's a Chad Brown horse to get disqualified from 3rd. And I do wonder a little bit if Manny Franco last time, she drew the outside post of 5. She was 4 wide in the first turn, and it was a super slow pace, and she had no shot. And remember, the horse who was in that, oh, that's a different race, actually. No, that's the race. That's the race that the Chad Brown Klarovich horse that won on Sunday so impressively was in. Capital Structure. She was compromised by the pace as well in there, and she ran a tremendous race here on Sunday.
So where do you think she's going to be in this race?
Well, that's the question. What is Manny going to be able to do with her? What position he's going to be able to get? Because it's not a race with a ton of significant speed.
I thought Brad Cox wants her to be in front.
I feel like they're going to be aggressive with her in here, and that's why I put her second, because I think they look at that last race, and I'm not blaming Manny for last time. You break outside of that inner turf course, even in post 5, it is tough to make the lead, even with these slow paces.
Would that win too, as you meant? And look, maybe as you said, there was some give in there. Those were slow fraction. Bramble Bay's not going to be that far behind her.
Oh no, I'm not. But I feel like she's a little underexposed because I mean, I'll tell you one thing. Having everything her own way in that race, she ran that day.
Okay.
I thought that was a strong race, and I'm going to give her excuse because she comes out of that phony race last time. So I'm more 1-2 with a little 4 in here.
And this being even money, how short is you getting the 2 Chads for 1? How short are they going to be in here? Or do you think the public's going to believe what we think?
I don't know. But it's hard to imagine that a Chad Brown entry with Irad Ortiz and Flavian Pratt aren't going to be preposterously overbet. And I say this as the idiot who put them on top. And I spend my life preaching you're supposed to bet against these horses. And now I feel like it. I feel like Rocky Sky is the best horse in here. But I'm not. I
I mean, it's a
Probably
horse to
not
beat.
practicing what I preach here, to be honest. And I think, looking at these pick fives, you have to ask yourself questions is, where are you going in the other legs? Like, I don't have a problem with singling Tiergan in here. I think if you're playing a pick five at the sixth race, keep your, I don't think that Amanda's Folly is going to be a short price. If you're getting her home, you certainly want to have the Chad entry in the ninth race, especially in the eighth race, because you'll probably use somebody there who's going to be a square enough price.
I'm not I'm not saying don't use.
No, I know you're not.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a definite strategy, and I don't believe in that strategy of leaving out short-priced horses. I understand it if you're using 3 super short-priced horses and you've got to find something somewhere, but I don't think you want to have a couple of 8-to-1 shots win. Let me put it. I know if you have 2 8-to-1 shots win the sequence and you don't hit it because you left the Rocky Sky out, you're just going to be a traumatic loser in life, regardless of what people say on the internet. And race number 10, I know you've got kind of a half a goofy idea in there as well. This is a race, and I should have brought the replay up on the horse that you picked. If I knew you were picking this horse, I would have brought it up. But we'll start with Cathedral Beach on the outside, who I've got second. Might have put on top if I had redone the picks after the scratches. Obviously, this is a very good effort. Weaver's dropping a lot. His numbers are so first time for a tag. I think they're pretty good in sprints. But isn't he going to sit right off of Prince of Joy in here and potentially have the run of the race?
This horse is really dangerous. Right. Yeah, no question.
He's going to be super short at this point, isn't he?
Look, he faced Surfer, dude. 2 starts back. It's a huge drop. And I feel like, tell me what you think, too, that this barn is saying, let's get going a little bit, get a drop and get a win.
Probably, but on the other hand, when you look at the scratches in this race, this horse is going to be, 8-5 or less?
Huge scratch of Bezos, yeah.
Right. So I don't disagree philosophically with that, but when you're dealing with super short-priced horses, you can't ignore the fact that this is a horse that broke its maiden against what at the time looked like a good Chad Brown horse, has caught 2 wet tracks since then, and now they're just dumping and clearly going to lose this horse. There's going to be a line out the racing office. So this is kind of a dump job. So, you don't want to get overly caught up in 8-5 dump jobs or maybe even shorter. And that's my problem. So, they're probably trying to get a win. I got myself hooked into Yono, who has no speed, but I found a Brendan Walsh stat that I couldn't ignore. He's got super numbers, 50% drops in claiming price in the turf, almost 40%.
Wow.
364 ROI. Those are pretty healthy numbers with $9 to $10 horses winning. So I took this one on the big drop down, not that I'll get much price. You, on the other hand, went to the fuzzy of fuzzies in here in our third. I have third.
Honestly, I don't even think it's that fuzzy. I really like this horse. So if you go back and look at that Mountaineer race,
which I did.
This horse had, and I'm not saying you, everyone else out there, I know you looked at every race on here.
No, you probably watched more replays than I did.
Arthurian, completely horrible start. You're going 5.5. This horse should not have won this race. This horse won easily. And I know you say Mountaineer, what kind of company is it? Look, the Dam was an 11-time winner, multiple stakes winner who was grade 1 place. She actually was second to Zenyatta in the Apple Blossom. Produced a stakes winner, sprinting, who started 4 for 4. So there's ability in the pedigree. And that race was sensational.
The 4th place finisher came back and improved its buyer figure 17 points. The second horse came back to win and improved 1 point. The third horse not that good. And I'll tell you something else. And I'm not making some big bias declaration, and I didn't do an enormous amount of work. Looking through the races at Mountaineer, because watched the race, Norris made a big outside move. I don't look at Mountaineer a lot, but there have been times when they'll have dead rails, and I was wondering, did this horse just, was really with a bias? Or you could make a better case that it was a strong rail that day, and I'm not, believe me, I'm not qualified to have an opinion on their bias, but looking at results, there were horses that ran the inside that outran their odds in more than a few races that day. So there's a chance that this horse was a little against the track. He certainly didn't have the track in his favor.
Here's the concern, though, and this is legitimate, is now it's a year between starts, more than a year. Both times he's gotten out of the gate bad.
I agree.
So that's a bit of a concern. And he may break just as bad as he did last time out. And against this group, he may not finish like he did in Mountaineer.
And I'll tell you something else. If you look at this figure from Timeform US, he's not that slow. Now, Bayer has him a little slow in here. Is he okay on the sheets?
Yes.
Okay. No,
yes.
I've got him third. I am using him in this race because he's also like, I understand people try to win, and you want to come to Saratoga, you try to win. You ship a horse from Mountaineer to Saratoga, you risk really looking foolish. I mean, I'm not trying to, denigrate Mountaineer, but let's be honest. There probably aren't too many races where they're running a lot of horses that are super competitive here. And this feels like it could be kind of a clever horse.
Yeah. No, I agree. And there's no way you're going to get 15 to 1.
Well, no, I mean, you've got the scratch, and there's major horses scratched here,
Yeah.
in particularly Bezos. But I mean, even Regality.
Half that, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's look at some of the odds of the horses that came out of this race.
Bezos was 3 to 1. Heads or Tails was 10 to 1. Regality 12.
And Centava was 12, but Centava looks like a little better than. I mean, yeah, it feels like these odds are going to be cut in half on a lot of these horses. But still, you're still probably talking about a horse that's going to be 6 or 8 to 1, so it's not a bad price. I think it's interesting. And the thing is, Cathedral Beach may just stalk and open up 4 top of the stretch and win this race, but you don't make money conceding races to 6 and 8 to 5 shots, like I did in the ninth race.
Yeah, look, trainers too, and owners with best laid plans. Oh, let's get a win, have a huge drop. Doesn't always work.
And you're not, even if you're trying to get the win, you're not dropping for that being the only reason.
Oh,
There's
no
obviously
question.
a general feeling
Things
that
aren't
we
working
need
out.
to move on with this horse, and maybe we're claimed. I don't think that George is overly worried this horse getting claimed to winning an allowance race, or frankly, maybe even winning a $40,000 race. We'll see.
Yeah.
Greg, it's been a pleasure. We don't
Enjoyed
do
it.
this enough. I'm sure we will do it again, whether here or somewhere else. Anthony will be back tomorrow. Greg and I will be on America's Day at the Races together, the first 3 hours with the MIG and Acacia for most of the show. The whole crew will be around. Jump race starts it off. Our friend Joe Clancy not here as well. We look forward to seeing Joe, though, next week. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, use the promo code TOGA200. We will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. I need to get over there, Greg. We've gotten so busy. Acacia texted me as well.
She did a great job, by the way, at the Whitney draw.
Acacia does everything, good job with everything. She says that Pratt Breeze, Smoky Eyes, and Joelle was on the workmate. So thank you, Acacia. At
Okay.
least she's helping out, unlike that guy who uses my name to try to get into popular restaurants. $20 bonus to Saratoga. You bet over $200 today, which I will be doing as soon as I can opt in. You got to opt in this one, right?
Yes.
Here we go.
You'll
Here
get
we go.
20 back. Is that 200 going to be on the late pick 5?
It's going to be on a whole variety of horses. It's not letting me opt in. I got to get to work on this. Okay.
Yeah, get
What
that
else, Ray?
stuff out. Seriously, get that stuff out of the way now. Opt into everything now,
I
and then
agree.
you don't have to worry about it.
I agree. $300 buy-in for the Saratoga Saturday contest. That'll be until Friday at 5 o'clock. Go to naira.com/contest. You'll go there for this one as well. The big contest here in the summer, $3,000 buy-in, the 4-Star Dave Challenge. That'll be Saturday, August 13th. You can play on track, but you can also play online through Naira Bets. We'll seed the pool with $5,000, all cash prizes. naira.com/contest. You'll have till next week to sign up for that. And 1 to 6:30, FS2, Saratoga Live. I finally want to say America's Day at the Races, and now we're
I
on
said that, by
Saratoga.
the way, opening day.
I say it all the time.
Oh,
I say it almost every single day. Anyway, Greg, thanks again. Terrific job.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it as always. We will see you again for Saratoga Live in not that long. Johnny I up next to reprise Scratches and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.